Hello and welcome to this very simple keyframing tutorial for Wondershare Filmora 14. I have a perpetual license, so I don't need to pay these weird subscription fees. What we have here on the timeline, which is this area below here, is a 2800 class 20H20 travelling down Denison Street in Rockhampton. This was during a Rockhampton trip, and this is a perfect grounds for a keyframing tutorial. So to begin, we're going to go up into the corner here on our titles tab, and we are just going to put down our very basic free title at the top. So just default title. And you'll notice that the side panel here has now changed into the video tab. Now what we can do from here is we can go into the text tab and we can type 2820 Rockhampton with the appropriate capitalization. And what we will also do is just a little outline, just so we can see it properly. So what we're going to do now, after we've made all of our cosmetic changes, is we're going to do a simple yet stylish keyframe. We're going to go back into our video tab, and what we're going to do is, before we touch any of these keyframe icons, we're just going to put it into an appropriate position. So I'm just going to put it slightly down the bottom here. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to use this XY tab just to make it a little bit smaller so it looks a bit more professional. So we have two choices of what we can do for a tutorial. First choice I'm going to do is a very simple sweeping animation where it also changes opacity, so it will arrive and depart while moving. So what we're going to do is going to go into this keyframe section here, and we're going to click this one here next to position. Now the position tab controls whereabouts on your canvas the keyframe will position itself to. So what we're going to do is we're going to add that keyframe at the start, and we're going to add another one anywhere along the timeline there, as we can change that at a later time. I'm just going to drag that towards the end because that's where I want the keyframe to end. And when we go back, I'm also going to select the keyframe. Feel free to zoom in on this because it gets a little hard to see sometimes. You want to select the keyframe. You just want to change your XY position very slightly, just so you have that sort of professional sweep. So now that that's just finished, this is what we have at the moment. Which I agree takes way too long. So I'm going to shorten that down. So we go on, have a look again. Perfect. Now, along here, we want to add this opacity modifier. So what this will do is, if we add this keyframe here, go back to the original start keyframe, hit that icon again and turn that down to 0. What that will do is, as the timeline moves, it will become visible. And then at the end, we want to do the exact same thing. We hit that opacity, keep that at 100. At our end opacity, you want to hit the icon again, turn it down to 0. So we get this professional sweeping animation here, which I agree looks absolutely fantastic. So we use the position and the opacity. I'm going to add another one here, and I'm going to demonstrate the scale and the rotate opacity. No, it's not the opacity, my apologies. I'm going to use the scale and rotate modifiers. Same rule applies as the first one. Personal preference, just going to add an outline so it's easy to see. I'm going to keep that text there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that keyframe here. So towards the very end, I'm going to go back, add another XY keyframe, make that 0. Then on that original keyframe, we're going to hit the keyframe button on the rotation, and we're going to do the same thing on the end, but we're going to change this to 360. So what we've now got is a text that will change size from small to large. So we've got it going from 0 to 100%, and it will also rotate in a complete circle. So here's what it will look like after you've successfully implemented the keyframes. It's a little cliche, doesn't it? That is as much as I can do for the basic keyframing. I will go further in depth if there will be questions asked.